The scarf is one of the coolest accessories that a guy can wear, especially in fall and winter. They're warm and they're stylish, so it's the perfect marriage of function and form. But what's the best way to tie a scarf? That's what this video is all about. First, a huge thank you to Zenni for sponsoring this video and hooking me up with the glasses that you'll see me wearing throughout the video, including this pair right here that came with this cool pair of clip-on shades. How cool is that? I love Zenni for a few reasons. First of all, it's a very affordable brand. You can get a pair of glasses starting at less than $20, and they're actually really nice. The starting price even includes basic prescription lenses, anti-scratch coating, and UV protection. Reason number two is the shopping experience is top-notch. Now, I have a narrow face, and most glasses are too wide for me, so I hate when I'm shopping for glasses or sunglasses and the brand doesn't list the dimensions of the frames on their website, or if they don't let you shop and filter by size. With Zenni, you can filter by exact frame size, or you can just shop for a specific type of glasses like narrow aviators or wide brow line frames. You can also shop by color or feature, and they have a large selection, so no matter how specific you get, you're gonna have plenty of options, even if you have a narrow face like I do. You can also use Zenni's virtual try-on to see what a pair would look like on your face. And the third reason I like Zenni is all the customization options. So once you find a frame that you like, you can choose between prescription lenses, non-prescription, or sunglasses. For example, these are non-prescription blocks lenses, so they look clear, but they actually block blue light and UV rays. So I've been wearing them in the evening if I'm working on my computer and staring at a screen. The bottom line is I've been really impressed with Zenni. I think it's a great place to buy glasses, especially if you're on somewhat of a budget, but you want a high quality pair of glasses or sunglasses. Click the link down in the description to check out Zenni today, and I'll also link to the glasses that you see me wearing throughout the video. Before we talk about scarf knots, we need to address a question that I hear way too often, which is wearing a scarf masculine? Well, there's no universal definition of manliness, but no matter what you believe, scarves are definitely manly. Now, out in the real world, you might notice that during the wintertime, you'll see a lot of women wearing scarves, but not a whole lot of men wearing them. This doesn't mean that scarves are feminine, it just means that a lot of guys are walking around with cold necks. I mean, think about it. Is being cold manly? Like, would you skip your hat or your gloves or your long underwear? No, that doesn't make any sense. I think that no matter what your style aesthetic is or what you think about masculinity, the scarf is a practical and stylish accessory. So next time some bro makes a joke about your scarf, just remember that he doesn't know what he's missing, and maybe you should buy him a scarf for his next birthday. A quick note on sizing, the scarf is a very simple garment. It's just a strip of fabric, so it means there's only two dimensions, length and width. Most adult-sized scarves are about 70 inches long. You can find shorter ones that are around 55 inches or extra long ones that are 80 plus inches. Depending on your height, a normal-sized scarf might be too long for you to wear it in certain ways. For example, the simple drape, which is the first method that I'll show you, doesn't work for me if I'm using a regular length scarf, so I either have to use a shorter scarf or pick a different method. But don't worry, I will show you a few scarf knots that work for you regardless of how long your scarf is or how tall you are. I don't think you need to worry about buying an extra short or an extra long scarf unless you're like under 5'2" or over 6'3". While some women's scarves are oversized, most men's scarves are 6 inches wide, and if you do have a wider scarf and you want it to be a little thinner, you can just fold it in half. Okay, let's talk about how to wear your scarf. So the simplest method is the drape. The drape is quick and easy. It does leave your neck exposed, so it's not the warmest way to wear a scarf. It is good for dressy outfits, and it's good for shorter scarves. So if you're a taller guy, this is a good one for you. If you're a shorter guy, this one might not work unless you have a shorter scarf. To do this, you simply drape the scarf around your neck from the back. I think the drape works best with like thinner scarves or even silk scarves. When you're wearing a scarf as more of an accessory and less for warmth. If you want a bit more warmth, try method number 2, the French knot. This is also quick and easy. It's good for any scarf regardless of length, and it offers plenty of warmth. This is my go-to method just because it's so easy to do and it works with any type of scarf. To tie a French knot, fold the scarf in half lengthwise, then drape it around the back of your neck. Slip the open end through the looped end and then adjust it to make the knot as snug or as loose as you like. Obviously, the more snug it is around your neck, the warmer it's gonna be. When I throw on a jacket, I usually tuck the ends into my jacket, but you can also pull the ends out if you want a bit more flair. Method number 3 is the French twist. And by the way, I'm just making up these names. I don't know if this actually has an official name, but I call it the French twist. It's slightly more difficult. It's good for longer scarves because it uses up a bit more length. And I think it's good for dressier outfits because, I don't know, it just has a dressy flair to it. So this is kind of like the French knot, but it just has an interesting twist to it, pun intended. So just like with the basic French knot, you fold your scarf in half lengthwise and you drape it around the back of your neck. You pull one strand of the open end through the loop, not both like you did with the French knot, and then you twist the loop to make a figure 8. Then you pull the remaining end through the new loop or the bottom of the figure 8 so that each end goes through one of the 8's circles. You can adjust as needed by holding the loose ends and kind of pulling the knot up towards your neck like you would with a necktie. And I think this one looks best if you tuck the loose ends into your jacket. Method number 4 is a bit more casual. It's called the once around. This is quick and easy. It keeps your neck warm and it's good for pretty much any type of scarf. I like to call this method the aviator because it makes me feel like an old-timey pilot, and it's my go-to for casual outfits. Start by draping the scarf around your neck and then pull one side down so it's just a little bit longer than the other side. Loop the long end around your neck and then bring it back to the front so it's hanging down in front of your body. If the long side is too long, you can easily adjust it. You don't have to start over, and you can wear this as tight or as loose as you like. I think the once around looks great with like puffer jackets or leather jackets, field jackets, anything that's a bit more casual. Method number 5 is the double tuck. Now this is slightly more difficult to tie. It does keep your neck very warm and it's good for longer scarves or shorter guys. This is a slightly more involved adaptation of the once around, so it might take a little practice to get right, but it's actually a really great knot once you get the hang of it. Start by draping the scarf around your neck, but make sure one side is a lot longer than the other side, like about twice as long. Wrap the long side around your neck to make a kind of loose loop, and then pull that same end through that loop that you just created. Then take the other end and pull it through the same loop so both ends are hanging parallel to each other. You can then bring that knot closer to your neck by holding the ends and sliding the knot up just like you would with a tie. Knot number 6 is called the overhand. Again, this is a slightly more difficult scarf knot to learn, but it's not that bad. It's good for any outfit, and it's good for shorter scarves or taller guys who don't want to use a whole lot of length. You start with a simple drape, making sure the ends are just slightly uneven in length. Like one end should be about 6 to 12 inches longer than the other. Pass the long end in front and then around the short end, creating a simple overhand knot, just like the first step when you're tying your shoes. Grab the back end, which is the shorter end that's closest to your body, hold it in place and pull the knot up toward your neck, and you can make it as snug or as loose as you like. This should result in a simple, clean knot, but you may need to untwist the top of the long end for a neater look. You'll notice that this knot doesn't use up a lot of length, so it's a great option for taller guys who find that most scarves are too short. Method number 7 is called the reverse. The reverse is quick and easy, it's good for casual outfits, and it keeps your neck very warm. This is sort of like the once around, but we're starting in front of the neck instead of behind it. With even or slightly uneven ends, drape the scarf behind your body so the middle is right in front of your neck. Pull each end over your shoulder to the front of your body and be careful to avoid any twisting. The scarf should be very snug against your neck, so this is a great method for colder days and casual outfits. It's also great if you find that the normal once arounds leaves too much excess length, because this uses up just a little bit more length than the normal once around. Method 7.5 is the reverse overhand. So this is a variation on the one that we just went over. It's a bit of an intricate knot, but it's very warm. It's really good for longer scarves or shorter guys who find that most scarves are too long. This ends with the same knot as the overhand. So you start with the reverse drape and you make sure one end is slightly longer than the other. Pull both ends one at a time around the front, taking care to avoid any twisting. Now you have a loop around your neck and two ends hanging down in the front. Pass the long end in front and then around the short end, creating a simple overhand knot. You can then wear those ends tucked into your jacket or hanging out in front. I actually really like the reverse overhand. As a shorter guy, a lot of scarves are too long for me, so this knot uses up all that extra length. So while I usually just do the once around or the French knot, if I want to do something a bit more intricate and involved, I do the reverse overhand. And method number 8 is the faux knot. This is not the easiest scarf tying method on this list, but it works for any outfit, and it's especially great for taller guys. This knot produces a similar result to the overhand, but it's slightly more intricate and some would say more sophisticated. Start with the simple drape, but make sure one side is much longer than the other side, at least twice as long. Create a loose knot in the long side by pulling the end up around the back and then down through the loop, and keep this knot very loose. Then pull the short end through this knot, and holding this end, move the knot up towards your neck. You can tighten it as much or as little as you'd like. I think it looks good when it's pretty snug against your neck, but keep in mind if the ends are too uneven in length, you'll have to start over. You can't really adjust it after the fact. Like I said, this one does take a bit of practice to get right, but it can be a really cool method that you don't see very often, so it's also kind of unique. And there you have it. There are 8.5 ways to wear a scarf this fall and winter. You don't have to use all of these, but if you just master 2 or 3 of them, you'll be good to go. Let me know in the comments section, what is your favorite way to wear a scarf? Do you even wear scarves? I'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment down below. Thank you as always for watching, and until next time, stay stylish.